What? Good morning, beloveds. He's just out of frame, I'm sure. Oh, there's the tail. But Foster's in here chatting with me. Okay, so it is October 3rd. My allergies have gone crazy, which means my ability to read is suspect. So we're just gonna... Okay. Change of course is the title. Then shalt thou walking in thy way safely, and thy foot shall not stumble. And that is Proverbs 3:23. The second quote is, all doubt and fear must go, and in their place must come faith and confidence, for we shall be led by the Spirit into all good. And that is Science of Mind, page 272. Sometimes decisions are made which have a significant impact on us, yet we seem to have no say-so in them. If they affect us positively, that's all right. But if they affect us negatively, that's not so good. Whenever we feel our options have been taken away, without our opinion having been asked, we may think life is unfair. However, we need to remember that sometimes God works in our lives in ways we don't at first understand or even like. This is where we begin to see that we do have a choice. Instead of reacting negatively to what seems to be bad news or an undesirable turn of events, we can choose to look for the positive. We can decide to affirm that good is always unfolding for us. I have had many challenging experiences in my life and have often resisted the changes they brought. But I have to admit that ultimately I've been led down pathways which turned out to be wonderful. And I never would have gone that way without someone or something appearing in my life to turn my direction. You do it, baby. So before we resist what looks like interference in our life, let's acknowledge that we don't always know what's best for us. Maybe the unsettling news is a true blessing, though in disguise, as blessings sometimes are. Today, I reserve judgment, letting the universe reveal to me what I may need to know. I remember that my life always works better when I put God in charge. I give thanks for the person or circumstance which comes along to alter my course, knowing that I am being directed towards my highest good. And that is AD. And I have no idea who AD is. AD is not listed in the list of writers. So, yeah. Okay. So, right there, today I reserve judgment. I think it's probably the most powerful statement in there. And I will tell you why. Because things happen. One of the things that I will remind people of is that we are in relationship. If the decisions we made just affected us, no big deal, right? But decisions are made on levels that are greater, that affect many, many people. Now, obviously our goal is, anytime we make a decision, is to make sure that it benefits as many people as possible and harms none. We do the best we can. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. And that's one of the things that we want to grant to other people. That's why that statement, reserve judgment. Today I reserve judgment. You want a mission today? There you go. Because sometimes things happen and the only choice we have is to choose how we feel about them. And I hesitate to use the word negative, but here's what I'll say. When non-preferred things happen, sometimes the only choice we have is how we feel about them and how we respond to them. And the difference between a reaction and a response is exactly that. It is a conscious choice. We are occasionally faced with things that are non-preferred. And what are we going to do about them? Well, if we throw up our hands, stomp our feet, and have a temper tantrum, that's not going to get us anywhere. Okay. If we take deep breaths and and then look at what is actually happening and choose how we respond to it, frequently we can salvage situations. We are a bunch of people, we are a bunch of spiritual beings in relationship, having, and when we bump up against each other, things happen. Towards the end of her affirmation at the bottom, she said, what is it? And it just popped out of my head. Hang on. She said, because I think I had a good point. I give thanks for, okay, there it is. I remember that my life always works better when I put God in charge. All right. Well, there's a difference between putting God in charge and letting ego run the show. Okay. So remember, ego has a job. Ego's job is to preserve your life. Ego doesn't always make the best choice, especially when it comes to other people. So when we put God in charge, what are we looking at? We are looking at joy, creativity, kindness, compassion, love. So that's why we can choose to respond. We can choose to respond. Sometimes, as I said a minute ago, the only choice we have is how we respond. And that is when we make a choice. So we can look at whatever's happening, whatever non-preferred, okay, I get it. This is what's happening. Now, what am I going to do about it? Sometimes it doesn't require me to do anything. Sometimes the best thing I can do is just let the change happen around me. Sometimes I, need to go with the flow, and sometimes I can stand in the flow and dam it up a little bit and, go and make a decision. And that's okay. That is okay. We're not saying let life roll over you. We're not saying that. What we're saying is when things start to go interesting directions, then you get to take a moment. A moment is however long you need it to be. Take stock of what's going on and choose how you are going to respond. Change happens. Change happens, and there is nothing we can do about it. So the best thing that we can do in those situations where change is happening, especially when it is non-preferred change, is to look around. As she says, reserve judgment, look around, see what is actually happening, and look for that blessing in disguise. There's always going to be some good in any situation. And when we find that, we can expand it. So, honestly, I really do think that the mission today, should we choose to accept it, is absolutely to reserve judgment. The title is Change of Course. Change happens. And it happens a lot. Because spirit is constantly moving into form and out of form. This is what we signed up for when we came here. Change. When we are being thrust into, as I said, a non-preferred situation, if we can reserve judgment until we see what's actually going on, then we can choose a conscious response, and we will get much more out of the situation than if we just react to it. All right? That's my suggestion. So our mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to reserve judgment when we see non-preferred change coming at us. All right? Reserve judgment. Absolutely make decisions. Absolutely choose, but choose consciously. All right? Don't let your ego run you. Don't let other people's opinions run you. Now, if you want to go and get information from other people, I fully support that. I'm a big believer in gathering information, gathering data, and making informed decisions. And that is the secret to reserving judgment. Reserve judgment until you have all the information. Okay? And sometimes that looks like going into treatment. Sometimes that looks like going into meditation. Sometimes that means standing in the chaos that is happening around you and looking around with open eyes to see what actually is happening, not what you think is happening. Okay? So you got your mission. You absolutely got your mission. And then the other one is the same mission I give you every day, which is to do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself, whatever that looks like. And if you are in the midst of chaos, sometimes it means taking a walk, taking a nap, taking a deep breath, walking out of the situation until you can get your head on straight. Do all of that. It is self-care, especially when you're in the midst of change. But it's also about making sure that you enjoy, okay? When you practice loving, kind compassion on yourself, you are creating a habit, you are creating a first response, you are creating a default setting. You are also creating a bank, because you deserve your own love, you deserve your own kindness, you deserve your own compassion. Absolutely, you're a beloved child of God. Well, everybody else deserves it too. So when you can be loving, kind, and compassionate, when you can have a first response that is loving, kind, and compassionate, that's how we get a world that works for everybody. But that also looks like making sure that you are taking time out to actually have joy, to enjoy things, to enjoy your life. God wants us to be happy, all right? Even in the midst of chaotic change. That is still the goal. So reserve your judgment and see what's really going on. All right, beloveds. Here's where I remind you to do something to engage your mind and your body, to drink plenty of water, to get that early in your day bright light, and to open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you do live in heaven right here, right now. It's all around us all the time. Because it's a state of mind. It's a state of consciousness. It is about choosing. It is about that first response. It is. It absolutely is. And one of the ways that we can absolutely do that, because I like to call it a superpower, is to look for the good and praise it. All right? And one of my goods is just off camera. My little kitten here, who I say kitten, he's like 15, I think, who's just being super cute. So I just need to do this to remind you that we are Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark on the social medias that we are on. I need to go check that. And I'm the Running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I am on. And all the social medias have recently made shifts and change. So if it's a little weird, we'll get back on it. We just have to adapt to the new changes. And if you want to know what's going on with the center, because we've got book studies, we've got classes, we've got a show coming, then email info@creativelife.org. That'll get you on the constant contact, and you can see what's going on all the time. And the hot links are hot. The hot links in the email are hot. So info@creativelife.org. That's the email. Okay. So here is where I get to remind you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a fantastic day, a Monday, if it's that year, an amazing day, a wonder-filled day, an awesome day, an awe-filled day, a good day. If that is too much pressure, simply have a day, because you are enough just as you are. You are a beloved child of God in whom God is well pleased and well represented. All right? It's a state of grace. It's granted. There's nothing we have to do to earn it, and it can't be taken away, no matter what other people tell you. So, you're a beloved child of God, and I will tell you that every day. Every day. All right? Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. I will be back with you around 9 a.m. tomorrow. Take care of yourself, and know that you are loved. I will see you next time.